So we're going to be stretching the backs of the legs to begin with. So if you've got a strap, you can use it, but it's not essential. We can always hold a body part. And we're going to begin lying down. So come to bring the head to the back of the mat and the feet towards the front. And let's just take a few moments to settle. If you have got a strap, just place it about halfway down the mat. As you lie back, just notice how your body is this morning. Take a moment just to observe how it's feeling. I'm not sure how long you guys have been up and about. Maybe this is the first thing you've done today. So just a moment to settle and to check in and just observe how we're feeling. So move around, do what you need to, a little swish of the feet, a little wiggle of the hips, maybe a little tucking down of the shoulders. And it's up to you what you want to do with your arms. Sometimes it's nice to have them above the head or just out beside you with the palms up to the sky. Or you may want to lightly place the hands on the belly, especially if you're focusing on some deep breathing and getting that a little bit more rehearsed. So again, place your hands where it feels good. Just make sure those shoulders are down away from the ears. And then take a moment to just relax your face, soften your jaw. Sometimes it's nice just to give your face a little massage, pushing the skin kind of up and away. It's quite invigorating. And anything else you feel you want to do before you come to stillness. And as best as you can, really be still. By us bringing the physical body into stillness, able to notice any other movements within, such as a busy mind or any feelings that might be just bubbling away. And all I want you to do is listen to anything that's coming up. Without judgment, without going too deep, just having a little tune in to yourself this morning. If you think about, it's not really the same now, but when you used to kind of find and tune into a radio station, you know, it used to crackle a little bit in between, and you'd find that kind of really sweet spot where it's a really clear transmission. And what we're trying to do with our yoga practice is we're really trying to fine tune that connection to ourselves, that internal voice, or what I like to call our truth, you know, showing up as we are. And that doesn't happen overnight, you know, it's a journey, it's a process, and we might play around with that tuning button for quite some time until we get that clarity. So that's all this is before we practice. We're just familiarizing ourselves with this part of our yoga practice, getting to know ourselves. The movement and the breath just helps us along that journey by loosening, strengthening, and connecting. So if you haven't already found and connected to your breath, just begin to do that now. Observe where you can feel the breath moving. Noticing the gentle rise and fall. And if you can, we're trying to bring our breath completely under our control. So once we've found it, we're then going to actively breathe. So we're really focused on drawing the breath in, sending it as deep as we can, and then allowing the breath to leave us as we consciously push and send the breath out. Or maybe take a few together. So if you want, just do a nice long exhale now. And then breathe in for 1, 2, 3. Breathe out for 3, 2, 1. Keep that up. Breathing in, 2, 3. And breathing out, 2, 1. Inhaling and exhaling. Trying to stay with your breath for as long as you can during your practice, as best as you can. And just any time you notice you've wandered away from the breath, it's just about gently guiding yourself back. Next inhale, full body stretch. Reach the arms above you, toes away from you. Moving the fingers, maybe moving the toes. You might circle the wrists and just move the ankles a little bit, pointing and flexing the feet, drawing circles with the fingers. And then slide the feet in, lift them off the floor and hug the knees into the chest. And you might bring the forehead up or you might stay with the forehead down, yogi's choice. But just have a little rock around here. You might draw some circles with the knees. You might go from side to side. Good. And then just do that a couple of times with the breath. So inhale, slide the feet away, take a full body stretch. And then exhale, bring the knees in, give yourself a little hug. And you might pause in these a couple of times, or you might flow with the breath. It's up to you. Just notice how that feels this morning. And then next time you're drawn in after an exhale, just drop the left foot to the floor and bring the right knee in a little closer. And then we're going to take hold of the back of the leg and kick the leg up and away from us, so the heel to the sky. Now this is where you can kind of loop a strap over your foot if you want, but you don't have to. You can just hold the leg, yeah? If you like to use your strap, all you're doing is you're looping the foot into the strap and sliding the hands down the strap. And the idea is you kind of driving the heel away, curling the toes towards you. So you're feeling this along the back of the leg, a little bit into the hamstrings. And if you do kind of really pull on the strap, or if you can even hook your big toe and really drive your heel, you'll feel this along the back of the calf as well. Just notice if the hip starts to lift on the right side, I want you to plug your pelvis down. Good. If you want, you can lift the head, neck and shoulders and come up a little bit here. But again, your choice completely, not necessary at all. We're just working the core a little bit here and we're getting ourselves a little bit closer to the leg for a count of 3, 2. Good. On 1, release the head, neck and shoulders down and just give the knee a little squeeze in and replace the right foot down. Good, so you shouldn't feel a difference between the legs, yeah? Left knee comes in now and we're just kicking the left leg up. So again, just take your time to get into this. No rush. strap or no strap. Remember what you know about your left or the left side of the pelvis. Keep that grounded. It's like we're still lengthening through the tailbone, yeah? It's okay, release from that. Pick up both feet. Let's cross the ankles and do a few rolls along the spine. And don't rush up to seated. Enjoy that nice massage along the spine. And then come all the way up. And let's just come to sit. Great. So lean back onto the fingertips and release the legs, but keep a nice soft bend in them. So the heels are as wide as the mat and you're just leaning back on the hands and you're just going to swish the legs from side to side here. Good. And then come forward and just start to extend the legs out and away. If you feel like straight away this makes your spine round, elevate your sit bones, sit on a cushion, or sometimes it's just about finding our sit bones. We might just have to move a little bit of butt away, right? And then we're just going to come into a forward fold. So nice and softly down. Soften the knees as much as you need to. Grab the toes or the outer edges of the feet. Again, if you've got your strap, you can hook it around and use that. So focusing on the backs of the legs this morning. We'll get into a little bit on the fronts of the legs, but a little bit of hamstring love this morning as we go into this new month. We're already quite far into October, aren't we? A week already. And it's really important to think about the breath when we forward fold. So as you inhale, almost lengthen, crown of head up and away. And as you exhale, that's when the movement happens. So I like to think of it as inhaling to find the space and then exhaling to go into the space. So maybe close the eyes and just visualize that lengthening through the spine as you inhale, that spacing and spreading of the vertebra. And then as you exhale, that melting down. Good. Slowly release on your next exhale when you feel ready. Take the hands behind us, roll the shoulders back, really squeeze them together and kind of try to almost bring the chest through. You might want to lift the chin a little bit here as well. So you might just want to stay here and enjoy a nice chest and front body stretch. If you want to get the legs involved, bend the knees, plant the feet, and just start to lift and lower your seat off the floor. So as you come up, you're really squeezing, and you might come up onto the heels as you lower down, and as you come up, the feet fully plant to the earth. And think about pressing through your big toes. Think about lifting the hips as high as you can. When you get to the top, there's a little squeeze of the glutes, but we're still pressing through the hands. We haven't dropped into the shoulders. We're still active in that first part of this posture. And that's sometimes what we forget about when we start to move the lower body. If it feels okay, you can stay at the top. If this feels really fine and you want to go a little bit further, you can extend one leg and then the other leg and come into a reverse plank. It's a little bit harder. We're here for 5. For 4, squeeze those shoulders. For 3. For 2. Good. Wherever we are, just slowly come down. And then bring the knees in and just round the spine a little bit. Chin towards the chest. Okay, if you feel ready, into tabletop, and let's start to move through some cat-cows. So all fours position. Just realised I've got to keep an eye on the time, otherwise you'll be here all morning. I know what I'm like once I get going. So tabletop. Right, remember what you know here. Wrists, shoulders, knees, hips. And then just enjoy some movement here, a little bit of freestyling. You've got your cats and your cows. You've got your kind of rotations of the rib cage. Think about drawing a circle with them. And then you've got your kind of swishes from side to side. And anything else in between that you like to do. Sometimes first thing in the morning, it's nice to open up the chest a little bit more. So you can pad the hands forward for a few breaths if you want and come into a melting heart. It's one of my favourite stretches, this one. And then when you feel ready, let's take a little balance before we get back into the hamstrings, okay? So tuck the right toes under, extend the right leg back, and let's just drive that heel away. You can stay here, or you can come onto the left fingertips, and you might even reach the left fingertips forward. So try to get through the whole body on a Sunday in some way or another. So a little bit of core strength, a little bit of back body strength we've already done. Good. Release the hand, lift that leg a little bit higher, and then draw the knee into the chest a couple of times. So inhale back, like you're drawing a straight line with your knee down the center of your mat, and exhale forward. Inhale back. Good. After you've done about 3, we'll step the foot through on the next one, and we'll come into our low lunge. But before we do, let's just rock backwards and forwards a little bit with the hips, because you really want to get this distance right. So shuffle that foot forward as far as you can, but without this right hip scooching forward. We want to pull that back so the hips are level. So just feel the back of the pelvis and just notice that we're level there. We haven't gone a bit skew-whiff by that right hip coming too far forward. And then when you feel ready, really press through the front foot, really press through the back foot, almost like you're knitting in to like this central midline, like we're squeezing everything in, and then lift the torso. If you want, you can get the arms involved. We can encourage that chest opening by cactusing, hooking the thumbs, reaching wide. Again, yogi's choice. Let's listen to what our body wants this morning. Tune into what you're thinking and feeling in the upper half of you, and just do it. Do what feels good. And remember, we're also sending that left hip flexor forward as much as we're working this front leg. Good. When you're ready, release the hands down. We're going to walk the hands back now. We're going to stay back for a little bit longer in our hamstring stretch. So if you're sitting right back and you're almost coming to the floor, that's not where we are. You want to stay with that left hip and knee stacked. So shuffle that foot forward as much as you need to, so that you can then curl the toes towards you, drive the heel down, and fold over that front leg. So I want you to think about your rib cage coming to your thigh bone, nose to big toe, chin to shin, that kind of angle. So we're really long in the spine. And hopefully we're feeling that in the hamstring. Yeah, probably a little bit more in the middle of the hamstring and towards the inner thigh. Good. The more you extend the leg, the more you curl the foot, the more you fold, the more you'll feel this. Close the eyes and focus on that same sensation of inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to fold. And just give me a couple more breaths, just like we did when we were seated. Inhale to find the space, exhale to explore the space. Lovely. Okay, let's journey forward, press into that front foot, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, big step to the top of the mat, might be a couple. Let's dangle. So one side's going to feel a bit different to the other. Yeah, we're going to feel like we've stretched the right hamstring a little bit more. So let's just dangle a little bit here and just get into a little bit of a soft forward fold. Use it as an opportunity to enjoy a nice side stretch. So by keeping the hips and the heels kind of set and not moving, and just tracing the fingertips from side to side, you should feel a nice stretch in the side body, almost like you're taking them to the corners of the mat. Good. And then back to center. Let's bend the knees and sink the hips and just take a little chair pose. So a nice wide Utkatasana style. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit lower or you can come into more traditional Utkatasana. Again, what's feeling good for you this morning? Notice where you're pressing through your feet. Are your knees panning out? Press through although they're dropping in. Press through the feet firmly. Try and keep everything nice and evenly weighted. Check in with the hips. Is one skew whiffing over to one side? We're here for 3. How's the breath? Can you knit into that imaginary midline for 2? Can you draw in the navel and length of the tailbone? Good, on 1. Hands down. Let it go. Okay, so walking back into maybe a plank or downward dog. If you want to just hold your plank for a couple of breaths, remembering all you know, pushing the floor away, drawing up through the thighs, taking a few rounds of breath here, nice and strong, and then we can lift the hips into our downward facing dog. Nice. And just walk it out here. Enjoy a little bit of stillness or a little bit of movement. How is the breath? How's your downward dog? Awesome. And then when you're ready, drop the knees. And really, if our downward dog is in a good position, we should land in tabletop just by dropping the knees. Tuck the left toes under, extend the left leg back. Take a moment here before you start to float that heel up so it's in line with the left hip now. Remember, if this is enough, you stay here or you find your right fingertips or you reach your right arm forward. Drawing in the navel, really squaring everything to the mat. Breathing for 3, for 2. Good. As you exhale, just drop the hand. Inhale, lift the left leg a little higher. Exhale, knee into chest. Inhale, kick it back. And you're just going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, knee into chest. Exhale, kick it back. Last one. The more you bring the knee to the nose, the more you'll feel the core working. And then bring the knee to the nose, push the floor away, shuffle that left foot forward in between the hands. And remember, we're shuffling it as far as feels good. We're getting into those movements forwards and backwards now. So just like we did on the other side. Inhale forward, exhale back. And when you feel ready, we'll stay forward. Remember what you know, press through both feet, knit into that midline, and then lift the torso. So we're super strong here. And remember, notice if your left hip has travelled too far forward, bring it back. Hips are next to each other, and we're just moving them forward together. Even though that leg's forward, we're not bringing the hip forward. That's being hugged back. So almost think of your thigh bone going, like sucking itself back into the hip joint. Great. Remember, you can lift your arms if that feels good. Taking maybe a different shape this time. Lovely. And then we're staying in that hamstring stretch for a little bit longer. So release the hands down and send the hips back. And I definitely need to shuffle my foot forward before I go back on this one. Take an inhale to lengthen and an exhale to fold. And with these kind of intense stretches, we don't go to our maximum on the first breath. We use the breath to get us a little bit lower each time. Millimeters or centimeters, it all counts, right? Did anyone watch, I didn't catch it all because I got back a bit late, but I gotta say, I loved the dancing show on BBC One. I just think it just lifts me up. I think we should just all dance a bit more. It just looks like so much fun. If anyone watched it, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Oh, lovely. Right, let that go when you feel ready by stepping forward, and then we will come back to the top of the mat again. And this time we'll go a little bit deeper. So maybe, again, you can use your strap if the floor feels far away, just like we did before. You place it under the balls of the feet and then you use it to lever yourself down. Or you're grabbing hold of something, yeah? It might be the ankles, yogi grip around the big toes, which is your first 2 fingers and thumb. And then you're going to lean forward, you're going to tilt your hips to the sky, and you're going to just let your head be really, really heavy. The knees can be as soft as they need to be. It's not about getting towards the floor, it's about getting the hips towards the sky and the legs to extend eventually. So try to relax the shoulders and keep using that technique of inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to fold. 3 more here. Good. When you're ready, inhale, just lengthen, come up halfway, and we'll exhale, walk ourselves back into downward facing dog. Nice. And we're just going to stay here for a little bit. Now, if you want, and you want to move a little bit more this morning to get yourself ready for the day, you've got the option to take some vinyasas now, or you're just finding a little bit of stillness here and enjoying the inversion, which is head below heart. If you want to move a little bit, shuffle the feet back, ripple yourself forward to a high plank, lower the knees and the belly to the floor, nice and controlled. Inhale, scoop the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades back. Exhale, slow push back to downward facing dog. Now that's just vinyasa option 1. There's many more. You've got your chaturanga and your up dog. You've got the one where you kind of just wave from down dog to up dog. But guys, just listen to your body. We've warmed up the backs of the legs primarily this morning and a little bit through the chest. So just go gently, yeah? Listen to your body. Do the version that feels nice for you this morning. If you are deciding to just do about 5 of those, just to complete your morning practice. Likewise, if you want to drop the knees, you can just do some rocks forwards and backwards, which is a nice half vinyasa alternative as well. Think hips to wrists and then hips to heels. Either way, guys, just about maybe 5 more breaths doing some more freestyle movements. And it's good to have this time to practice, even if it is just a few breaths on your own. It will build this intuition, yeah, and this dialogue that we kind of spoke about at the beginning. Like, what do I need? What's my body feeling like this morning? Where do I need to release? And then we'll all meet back in a child's pose whenever you feel ready. Opportunity to come back to stillness, to come back to your breath. By all means, if child's pose doesn't feel good, you can just come to kneel. And before you go about your Sunday, just observe any feelings, any sensations moving through the body. And just honour how you're feeling today by staying close to yourself, especially if you've got a busy one. That connection you have to yourself is the most important. The more we practice staying close to it, the easier it becomes. And that's where yoga does become life-changing stuff, I guarantee it. Okay, roll yourself up if you haven't already. Come to kneel. Roll the shoulders back and down. Hands just resting down on the lap. Nice and soft in the shoulders, nice and soft in the face. And then just maybe a little chin to chest, a little bow down of the head, just as a sign of gratitude for this time you've gifted to yourself, to your fellow yogis for joining you. Well done, everyone. Have a lovely Sunday. Enjoy yourselves and go steady, go gently.